Oh, well, hello everyone, and thank you for coming. I feel very honoured that you've come to listen to me talk for a few minutes. And hopefully you're interested in the programme. I have just done a little sneaky PowerPoint, so I will just get that up. I think that is the right one. There we go. So, hello. Oh, someone's got a noisy thing going on. So, hello, my name's Kate. I have met some of you, I think. I changed my name recently. I used to be called Kate Cooper. So yeah, it'd be nice to reconnect with those of you that I have met before. And I am employed by SOS UK as a green mentor to support green influencers projects in East Anglia. So essentially, this is a call out for anyone who is working with young people, interested in hearing more about engaging young people in environmental social action, and just all around, yeah, hopefully we'll have a really nice kind of productive conversation, and you'll have a chance to ask any questions because there's no way that I will remember to cover everything. So just before I start talking, I thought I'd show you a little video about what we're talking about when we're talking about youth social action. So I'm just gonna, sorry, I was gonna play you a little YouTube video. So how do I make it play though? That is the question. Okay.
Kate, has this got sound on?
Oh, yeah, is the sound not working?
It's not coming through, no.
Oh, that's annoying.
You might have to click the computer sound button when you share.
Sound. How's that? Yep.
The leaders of tomorrow.
The leaders of tomorrow.
The leaders of tomorrow.
Why do we always have to leave things until tomorrow?
We leave them until the very last minute
in hope that the problem will go away.
We're not waiting until tomorrow to lead. We're leading now.
We're volunteering. We're campaigning.
We're protecting our natural world.
We're making people's lives better now.
There's every chance you're missing out.
Organisations and leaders are making big decisions that affect our lives.
We're not at the table. We're not even in the room.
When was the last time you spoke to someone like me?
Or me.
Or me.
Schools, hospitals, charities, government.
You can't build a better world without us.
We have the power to make a real difference.
In our communities and across the whole of society.
We can try to do it on our own, but we shouldn't have to.
Families are living in poverty.
Communities aren't talking to each other. We face racism or harassment just going about our lives.
We're getting lonelier when we should be more connected.
Too many of us don't have an equal start in life.
And the climate is changing forever.
We cannot answer these problems with the same old voices.
With the same decisions being made by the same people.
Give us the opportunity to take action. Give us the power to make real change.
Why wait until tomorrow?
Take part in the Power of Youth Challenge.
Invest in us.
Listen to us.
Work with us.
So I just really like that video. And I think, yeah, obviously, I'm sure all of you are here because you kind of know this stuff and you know how important it is to have young people leading on, you know, protection of the environment, leading on, you know, work in their communities. And I'm sure you all know how important that is. But I just feel like that's a really good video demonstrating how important it is that the voices of young people are really at the heart of all of this action. So what is the Green Influencer Scheme? Great question. So we are, so as I say, I'm employed by SOS UK, and basically the Green Influencer Scheme is funded by the I Will Fund. So the I Will Fund is funding from DCMS, Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sports, and National Lottery Community Fund. Each have put in sort of 25 million to create the I Will Fund. And the Ernest Cook Trust, who, if you work in kind of wildlife or outdoors, you might be familiar with. So the Ernest Cook Trust are acting as match funder for the I Will Fund, and they're allocating funds on behalf of I Will. So Ernest Cook have very generously funded 40 green mentor posts, of whom I am one, in host organisations across the country. So your local green, if you're working in East Anglia, your local green mentor is me. And basically my role is to connect with organisations working across East Anglia who are supporting young people who are aged 10 to 14, which is our target age range. Provide opportunities for 10 to 14-year-olds to lead on and run their own environmental action projects. So really the purpose of the scheme is for young people to experience kind of nature connection and have opportunities to participate in youth environmental social action and really lead on that sort of work. So that is what that's about. So in terms of ideas for the sort of thing that might entail, just because, you know, when you say the really important thing as well is that any ideas are completely led by groups of young people themselves. So they design and run their own projects completely. My role is just to kind of provide support and mentor that process, kind of go through that process with them, with the organisations that we work with. You know, I can support by helping to make connections with other organisations, using the kind of expertise and knowledge within my wider team at SOS UK and Ernest Cook and the network of green mentors across the country, but also, you know, just by making connections between organisations working in kind of in the environment and in nature locally as well. So just some ideas, because I think sometimes if you sort of approach a group of young people and say, oh, do you want to do an environmental project? It might be like, oh, what does that even mean? So just ideas that for the sort of thing that might mean in practice is, you know, if the young people were really passionate about tackling food waste, for example, they might decide that they want to do a project around tackling food waste. So things like setting up community fridges or compost stations or that sort of thing. They might be really passionate about local wildlife, maybe, yeah, you know, pollinators and bees. You know, everyone's really loves the bees, don't they? And the bees are really lovable. So they might want to do some work around kind of our pollinators and biodiversity. So they might want to plant wildflower meadows or think about bee corridors, or yeah, even set up a community beehive. They might be interested in kind of planting trees. They might be wanting to do something a bit more, you know, creative and as a kind of response to what is going on for them. Because as we know, eco-anxiety is such a big thing for young people during a year that's been very anxiety inducing for our young people as well. You know, all of the pressures of, you know, feeling the weight of the world on their shoulders and the future on their shoulders. You know, they might want to do something creative that kind of works through some of those feelings. So kind of art interventions or performances. They might be interested in upcycling or reuse kind of, but what, you know, it's completely, the idea is that if a group of young people decide that they want to be green influencers, then how the project looks is completely up to them. So in terms of how they might deliver projects, so I know that I think Amelia's sent around the sort of intro information for organisations which will have spoken about the 360 grant. So the idea is that if a group of young people who kind of meet the funding criteria, so the right age range for the project, and come up with their own project, so it's led by them, all of the green influencer groups are eligible for this 360 grant, which is supposed to reflect this 360 because it reflects the 360 degrees of influence that each and every young person has. So the group are eligible to apply. It's a really simple application for this kind of £360, which you know, I work with them and they, you know, do that little funding application. It's designed to be really, really simple, really, really user friendly, and that's on a rolling basis as well. So whenever the kind of group wants to carry out the project, there'll be a backs run kind of at the end of every month. So it won't be like a sort of waiting months and months to get that money in the account. Reporting is really simple. There's a bit of reporting, but it's really, really easy and simple. Don't need receipts or anything like that. And the idea is that then with that £360, that the group of green influencers decide and allocate how that is spent. So it's totally up to them how to spend that. So they're kind of gaining all of those like project management skills at the same time. And if, you know, the idea is that this is sort of seed corn funding, so it's enough to kind of get something started, get something underway. And then the idea is that we kind of work together to try and leverage other funding sources or kind of in-kind support to kind of extend the projects if that's what they'd like to do. There's also opportunities to apply for this a larger £5,000 up to £5,000 grant from Ernest Cook Trust. And that's decided through a board of Ernest Cook trustees and a youth advisory board as well, who decides who gets to get the big pots of money. And that opportunity comes up not every month, that's a little bit less regularly, but still there's opportunities if young people come up with something really ambitious and really exciting. So it's really important, you know, our criteria are really to work with young people for whom there are kind of significant barriers to participation in this sort of work, because as we know, the sort of environmental movement is very, you know, predominantly white, predominantly middle class, you know, it's really a problem. And we're, you know, really doing that process of trying to sort of decolonize the environmental movement and, you know, make sure that young people for whom, you know, these opportunities aren't very regular, that we can, you know, provide opportunities for those young people. I mean, that said, if you've got a group of young people and we're not going to say, oh, sorry, you can't join our club because you're too posh, you know, that's not, we're not going to say that, but we really do want to, it's about providing those opportunities that wouldn't otherwise be there for groups of young people. So yeah, that's just a really important note. So in terms of what we're looking for as a part of the Green Influencer Scheme, we're looking for organisations to work with. So if you're an organisation, what do we need from you? We're looking for organisations who work with young people aged 10 to 14, and that is our target age range. So the reason that's our target age range is because that's the sort of transition age between primary and high school, which is obviously identified as quite a sort of vulnerable age for young people, but also in terms of kind of measuring nature connection for young people, that's a kind of age of drop off as well. So it's an identified age range. But that being said, if you're an organisation that's working with young people who do have, you know, who do have barriers to participation, we can work with young people up to the age of 20. So if you're working with a group who, you know, meet our funding criteria in other ways, then we can definitely still work with you even if they're older. So what else do we need? A bank account again, you know, so the 360 grant is paid directly to the kind of youth group or school or whoever that's working with the young people. Obviously there might be, I've got asterisks because there might be times that you know, a group is working with young people but they don't have a bank account, they might be unconstituted, or it might be a bit complicated. I know sometimes with schools it's a bit complicated, just a pot of money arriving. So we can work with you on that, and in some instances SOS UK can receive the money and then we can allocate it from there. So that's not a deal breaker, but it's quite convenient if you have got a bank account where it can go. What else do we need? A venue. We need a venue because SOS UK don't have a premises or anything in East Anglia. So we're looking for essentially people who are already kind of working with young people or wanting to work with young people, and then, you know, have a venue, have a space where that's possible. Again, you know, if you're interested and you're keen and you want to be a part of something but you don't have that, then we can, you know, still get in touch and still talk to me, because there might be ways of kind of matchmaking with other organisations who do. So it might be that we have a number of organisations that partner on a project, and that's just great. So do still get in touch, and we can figure that kind of thing out. And also, if the young people want to do something and they need a venue, they want to run an event or something, then part of that 360 could maybe go to hiring a community hall or something for their event. So again, still do get in touch. And then the final one is, yeah, appropriate safeguarding. So, you know, as people that work with young people or you know, we know that that's all really important. And again, you know, we can work with you to make sure that things are in place if they need to be as well. And there's loads of great advice, I'm sure, from Momentum Voluntary Norfolk as well. So don't let any of these things be a barrier, but these are just the kind of things that we need. So I'm sure I've missed out loads of things. I'm going to stop sharing and there we go. So yeah, I think we'll be going to do some, if people want to ask questions, please do, because I definitely won't have said all the things that are important. Or what I will say, the idea of it being, it's called the Green Influencer Scheme because of this idea of a social media influencer being able to influence their followers. So the idea is that by recruiting young people as green influencers who are kind of passionate and enthused and excited about making change, then they will in turn, pass on that enthusiasm and excitement to their peers and to their family and friends. So that's the idea behind it being called the Green Influencers Scheme.
Thank
so yeah,
you.
please do ask questions.
I'm going to stop recording now.